Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. My name's Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta.
And this week, we have a very exciting time planned ahead for us to talk about Shadow of Mordor. Mike, I know in the past couple of weeks on our What You've Been Playing, you've been going hard on some Shadow of Mordor.
Hitting it real hard, Tyler. And let me tell you what. So today we're talking about the place in Middle-earth where the shadows lie, specifically. That's Mordor. And this is going to be fun for me because it's going to be mostly me trying to convince Tyler to watch Lord of the Rings and give it another chance. That's what this is.
I am historically not a huge fan. I don't dislike them. I don't watch them and go, this is bad. I just it just never grabbed me the way it has grabbed so many other people. So I'm just not a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Huge fan. That's okay, though. That's okay. Okay, so we're going to start. So if you don't know, it's a 2014 action RPG. And I never actually played this when it came out. But I have played through it now, almost all of it, actually. I didn't play the DLC, just to note, this is going to be the base game we're talking about today. Mm-hmm. And the big part about this and the big gameplay mechanic that was actually patented, locked down, but as of a few weeks ago, may see new light, is the Nemesis System. Do you know what the Nemesis System is?
No, but I have heard the drama of it being patented. I have not followed it very closely. It's weird because people are very upset. I think probably justifiably so. People are so upset that they have patented this gameplay mechanic. But I haven't seen any other game company, to my knowledge, patent a game mechanic in the same way, which makes me feel like maybe it doesn't hold up in court. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So we'll kind of get into it today, but yeah, it's just worth. We're going to wait to talk about the Nemesis System. We're going to talk about it a little bit in the middle and explain what it is.
Okay.
And then I'm going to talk about it in the end and explain kind of what's going on with it now. But as always, we got to start with the grime facts.
Yeah.
So the developer is Monolith Productions. And then there was another development company called Behavior Interactive. And they worked on the actual console versions of the game. So we're talking Xbox 360 and we're talking about the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3 version,
so they did the ports for the older consoles.
Yeah, for the older consoles.
This is still overlapping time for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 era.
That's correct. So It's the time in between where you have the older systems still there, but you have the newer ones as well. So it's kind of a weird in-between time, right? Mm-hmm. So I just want to give them a small shout out. Mostly this is entirely Monolith Productions baby though. They're the ones making all the creative decisions on it. And then Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment are the ones that published it. So for the sake of this, we're really only going to talk about Monolith, but I just thought, you got to be more, say everyone that did it. So that's what I did. So release dates are as follows. It was September 30th, 2014, and that came out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC in North America. And then October 3rd, 2014, and that's PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in Europe. And then the 360 version and the PlayStation 3 version didn't come out until November 18th of
You had to wait 2 months if you hadn't upgraded yet.
Yeah. Also, I should mention too, I'm kind of all over the place with sources this episode. So some of these release dates are from VG charts and some of them are from just your standard Wikipedia page that has the release dates on them. So just know that. But the one thing I will say is the best way to play this, I'm just going to say it. Sure, you could play it on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Just play it on PC. It runs so well now. It's
a 12-year-old game. It probably runs on potatoes at this point.
It does. And honestly, I played it on PC and you could crank everything to ultra and just go through it. And I have a 3060 and that's not that strong in the relationship of graphics cards go. So
it also goes on sale all the time. It's $4.
I bought it for $4.
Yeah.
That's what I bought it for. So make sure you play it on PC, get it on Steam, save a bunch of money. That's what I would say. That's the best way to play it. There are other ways, but that's the Codex way of playing it.
Sometimes I do like to play the 360 version or the PlayStation 3 version of games like this. Games that were very clearly meant to be for one generation, the newer generation, but then got backported because some suit was we still got to sell Xbox 360 versions of this game. I like just checking it out and just being oh man, what did they drop down? What stayed the same? That stuff's always fun.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of fun too. Yeah. I actually was, can we hit the tangent button real quick?
Yeah.
Big fan of the YouTube channel Modern Vintage Gamer. I know you
Oh,
are
me
as
too.
well, Tyler. And he just talked about the Resident Evil 2 N64 version, which I had no idea even existed, but it was kind of miraculous in how they fit so much stuff on a cartridge that was really a game on CD.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what's
like the
crazy.
most technically impressive N64 game because they even kept like a lot of the full motion video cutscenes. I mean, they don't look as good as they do on PlayStation. Not that they look that great on PlayStation either, but they're there. That cartridge
Yeah.
is like 128 megs or something. It's like the biggest cartridge possible on N64.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, Modern Vintage Gamer, check it out.
Big
Great
fan.
YouTube channel. That's my little. When you said something about seeing how it performed on one system versus another, that's a big one because yeah, they dropped the resolution way down on the N64 version, I believe, to make it work. But it's still cool because they had live action video. So all right, so video number of copies sold. We're going there in the Grime Facts next, and I'm going to say like worldwide as of late November 2014, and this is coming from VG charts, was 2.4 million copies. So just know that.
Sold well.
Sold
Enough
well.
to get a sequel.
Sold well. Yeah. Also, I mean, multiple game of the year or winner contender, this game. It's considered a good game, mostly because of the Nemesis system, which we'll get into. But okay, so it's a genre or gameplay style is open world action adventure, action RPG. I'm going to say if Batman, Arkham City, and Assassin's Creed had a Lord of the Rings baby, it would be Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. That's how I would describe it. As far as the combat goes.
1/3 of those things.
The Batman?
Yeah.
You don't like Assassin's Creed or a Lord of the Rings baby?
That's another one I wasn't able to. Well, okay. The Lord of the Rings baby sounds interesting. I don't know.
Maybe terrifying.
Maybe
honestly.
terrifying.
So,
Yeah. A baby Lord of the Rings.
Baby Sauron, maybe cute. Kind of like Muppet babies. Probably
Yeah. Or
cute.
like Baby Yoda.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. So, all right, average time to complete. We're going to do a special segment for this one, which I'm excited about. So the main story, according to How Long to Beat, 15 and a half hours. The completionist is 33 hours. My playthrough time, because I could pull that from Steam, was 19.7 hours.
Oh.
I did none of the DLCs, and I did all of the side missions except the survival and hunting challenges, which I did about halfway through of each of those. So just to give you an idea. So I would say if you're going to play this just casually, it's probably around 20 hours. That's like, and I was definitely in the end, like just powering through side missions, just trying to get stuff done because I wanted to talk about it this week. So Metacritic score is an 84 out of 100, which is good. It's a good Metacritic score. Okay. So I know everyone wants like a perfect 100 or like high 90s, but 84 is still very good by critics. So let's talk about the gameplay. The Shadow of Mordor, it's third person and it's kind of all set up very Assassin's Creed exploration style. It's got the tower thing going on. You know what I talk about when you mean the tower thing, right?
Yeah. This is like an Ubisoft style open world game where it's like parts of the map are closed off till you climb the tower and like scout it all out, and then suddenly you see all the things. Yeah.
So in this case, you climb these towers that aren't actually in the real world. They're in like the spirit world. So you turn into spirit guy when you climb them. We'll get into that later. And you like hit a forge hammer on the top of the tower, and then that area of the world opens up and all of the collectibles show up as well. So you want to click on the tower so you can see where all the collectibles are at because those make you stronger. Okay, so that's the basic exploration aspect of the game. But I think what really shines here is the combat and the stealth system. So combat in the game, like I said before, it blends Batman Arkham series as in the combo system where you're fighting a large group of enemies and you press the Y button or the triangle button or
like
whatever control you're playing on to
react.
counter that attack. And then you try to keep your combo going as long as you can. And when you hit certain points of the combo, then you can do special moves by pushing two buttons together. So I think if you press Y and B together, that's like an execution. And if you press A and B together, that's a brand, which is a special kind of thing we're going to talk about later. But different powers for different things. That also reminded me of something else I didn't write down. I knew this was going to happen, where I'm going to run into things that I got to talk about later that I didn't think about while writing the script. But the important thing is you can chain attacks, you can counter enemies, and then more importantly, and I think this is something the game leans towards, is stealth. And the stealth is like definitely the bigger part of the game. So, because here's what happens, and this is kind of how I wrote it down, is if you go in quietly, you can usually beat a mission and dispatch enemies very quickly.
It's kind of how Batman is.
Yeah, you can finish it really quick. If you start a fight by just walking in, there's an orc that's going to hit an alarm. Then more guys are going to come out. And then before you know it, you're going to have like 3 captains and then 30 regular orcs that you're all fighting at the same time. And in order to fight all those guys and beat them, it actually takes like 10 minutes of like comboing and stuff. So it kind of, in that way, sure, you can be like an action hero, but the game really encourages stealth more than anything, I would say.
That's kind of how Star Wars Outlaws is too. If we want to talk about Ubisoft style exploration games that are still going strong 12 years later, that's one of them. But it's the same thing. It's like if you're not sneaking, 8,000 people are going to come out and you're going to have a hard time killing them all.
For sure. And so the other thing you get in the game, not just combat wise and like using your sword and your dagger, is there's supernatural abilities. So like using a bow, it's called elf shot. It's like you have a special spectral bow you can use to fight enemies with. And then you can actually like brand and then control enemies. And you can also teleport across the map. These are really fun in the beginning because you feel like it's fresh and you're learning something new. And then you become completely OP busted at the end of the game. And you can like feel really strong, which I like.
Love that.
I like when single player games do that. And that's what this one does really well. The other thing you can do is there are beasts in the game, and these beasts you can also brand and ride them. So they have these Caragors, which are kind of like the wargs, but they're mostly act as like your horses if you want to use one, and you can brand it and then ride it. And then later in the game, there are these monsters called Groks, which I will describe as Middle Earth Rancors for everybody. And they're giant beasts that look like Rancors, and you can ride them and control them too. And it's very funny because it's just like a silly gameplay mechanic that's super fun. Did you get a picture of one? I guess we probably could have pulled a picture of one.
Rog.
There's also other enemy types other than orcs. There's ghouls as well, which are kind of like just like undead ghoul creatures in Mordor that pop up, and they are really easy to fight. And there's actually a whole like execution button for ghouls where you like slam the ground down and like white light shines out and it just like insta kills all the ghouls, which is kind of cool. So you build a combo up to do that. But now we're going to talk about the main gameplay mechanic of Shadow of Mordor, and that is the Nemesis System. So the Nemesis System, and this is mostly coming from Engadget, an article I found there. What it does, and I'm trying to like not say exactly what they said. I'm going to try to paraphrase this as best I can, but are a hierarchy of orcs. So when you press the pause button in the game, an option says Sauron's army, and you click on that, and it shows like a ranking system of different lines. So there's like a lower ranks and a higher ranks, and they're all captains. And then at the top, there's 5 war chiefs. And what happens is every time you fight one of these captains and you kill it, it will like die, and then another Uruk can take its place. Or better, if it kills you, it auto saves so it knows you died, and then that Uruk gets stronger and then fights the captain above it and might be promoted and win, and it'll also remember you. Like that's the Nemesis system. Is it makes emergent gameplay happen because everyone's playthrough is different. Because if you die to a different boss than your friend, you're going to get a completely different story than your friend. Oh,
interesting. That's cool that they like fight amongst themselves, I guess. If they beat you, they got stronger and they rise the ranks, their own ranks.
Yeah, and it gets more complex too, because later on in the game, you use the ability Brand, which allows you to mind control these orcs. By the way, I mean to use the term orc and Uruk like together because they use it in the game together. But I mean, it's like some Lord of the Rings lore. I don't know if anyone knows about the Uruk and the orcs, but it's like, it's fine. It's not I'm just going to use it separately. I don't want to get lost in the weeds here. So but the bottom line is like when you can brand enemies and mind control them, now you can play the ranking system game because you can mind control a lesser captain and then have him fight the war chief and then help him fight the war chief. So you install him as like your proxy war chief. So it's like political kind of.
Whoa. So you
and,
could be like, you're like the master of puppets.
Exactly. And so what ended up happening is to get to the final boss of the game, you have to have all 5 war chiefs branded and under your control, which is pretty cool. So like you're in charge. That's the Nemesis system. Now, my understanding is it gets much more complex and they add some stuff to it in Shadow of War, which is a sequel to Shadow of Mordor. I have not played that yet, but I just wanted to talk about it today because I felt like this game is so cool. We could do an episode on it, and we can do an episode on Shadow of War if we want to. That's from 2017. So.
It seems like they could have put that in a Batman game too, of like the crime, different like crime syndicate people.
Saying.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
That's what I was thinking, because there's these moments where like Batman has partnered with villains in the past. Like that's happened in the comics, right? So that could totally be a system they put in an Arkham game if they bring Arkham games back. Which
where Batman like sort of infiltrates.
Not looking good, by the way. But we'll talk about that in the end.
I did buy, I think at one point I bought Suicide Squad for like $2 because I wanted to play it, but I haven't played it yet. It's bad. That's why I only paid $2 for it.
I've heard it's not very good. It was a disappointing thing to a lot of people, but we won't get there. We won't. That's a tangent that's too sad. Okay, I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything because I just kind of completely ignored my script. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is something I missed too. Captains are different than normal orcs because they have special modifiers. So certain captains can't be range attacked. Certain captains are immune to combat executions. Like some of them are afraid of Caragors, so you can use that to their advantage. Some of them hate Caragors, and if you bring a Caragor into the fight, they get stronger and they heal them for health bar. So it's like there's different. Every single captain has a different thing, so you have to gain intel on what they like and don't like by branding and dominating normal orc enemies to get intel on them, so you learn about them, so then you can fight the boss, which is kind of fun because I talked about The Witcher 3 on here, but one of my favorite things about The Witcher 3 is that in order to fight a monster, you have to learn about that monster. I think that's a really cool aspect, and it kind of carries over into this Shadow of Mordor a bit, where in order to fight these captains, you got to learn their strengths and weaknesses, which I think makes the game just has more weight to it. It makes it heavier, like plot wise, like, and you actually care.
Yeah, that's cool.
Also, the orcs have funny names too. Like there's a guy named Ratbag that you help out early on. That's funny. There's also a guy that's like Runny Drawers or Runny Pants or something. It's really funny.
It's Johnny from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much Johnny from Metal Gear Solid in orc form. That's what it is. But yeah, it's pretty fun. And honestly, they all have personalities. I see why this game was so great when it came out, because they all have personalities and they all they really cared about making different voice actors for every single orc. So they all sound different. Cause when you are playing like Skyrim or something and you're like, hey, this is clearly the 5th time this voice actor has been voicing this character. And you're like, I'm ready for something else. That never happened to me in Shadow of Mordor. I never noticed it, at least. So that's cool. Props to them. The other thing about captains is when you kill them, not when you brand them, when you kill them, they drop a power-up. And the power-up is a rune that goes on either your bow, your dagger, or your sword. And those runes add special modifiers to it. So, for example, one of the modifiers I put on a weapon was it made it so every time I killed a captain, all the other orcs around fleed in terror, like I won. There's also ones that add health or add focus when you do things. There's multiple side missions for each weapon. The bow, the dagger, and the sword each have quests. And after completing all 10 of these quest challenges, your weapons each get an ultimate ability. For example, your sword, if you get a combo up certain high enough, you can press both sticks in to activate it, and it gives you unlimited executions for 20 seconds, which is pretty cool.
That does sound pretty cool.
There's also these outcast missions where you need to free humans that are captured by the Uruks, and there are bonus modifiers for every mission in the game, not just these ones, but they add more points to unlock more runes and more weapons, or more runes in your weapons, or health, focus, and elf shot to maximize your health and stuff. The other thing too with these modifiers is I found them pretty simple, so they were like worth doing. It's like you do like 2 stealth takedowns on an enemy in this encounter, and I'm like, okay, so they were all reasonable. Like I never did a challenge and thought it was annoying or unreasonable.
That's good.
Which I think is cool. Yeah, so it felt right. The other one too that I wanted to mention in the gameplay section is your elf shot is limited. Your bow ammo is limited essentially. And in order to get it back, you have to like brand or drain your opponents, which is kind of a fun way to do it. I like it when different combat systems like balance each other out because you can insta shot any orc in the head, usually like a standard orc in the head with the bow, but you can only do that so many times before you have to get in there and actually fight them or whatever, which is
like
neat.
Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal kind of did that, and I assume Dark Ages as well, but I haven't played that one where it's like you sort of have to end up using different guns to get ammo for other guns, and so you end up using everything in order to make sure your ammo is always topped off.
Exactly. And I think that does it. Like we've talked before about like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom weapon degradation, like that being a thing. I think Doom does it better. Doom encourages you to use weapons better than Breath of the, like instead of destroying them, it's like, no, you got to use these so you get stuff for other things. Like that's like, it's like a round robin kind of thing of like bouncing and juggling weapons so you get ammo for other ones.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like the idea of that, yeah.
And that's what Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor does a little bit. I'm trying to see if I could have sworn I wrote something about it, but I didn't see it. So I'm just going to talk about it now. But there's also a power. It's called Shadow Strike. And when I said that you feel really powerful, this is busted and it's awesome. And I love it. And what it is, it counts for a range shot. You aim your bow, so everything slows down. You get into focus mode and everything slows down, and you aim your bow. And if you aim it at an enemy, and instead of pulling the trigger, you press like X or A, it teleports you to that enemy and takes them down. It either kills them or it knocks them over. And by the end of the game, you can do that so much that you can dispatch like 10 to 15 orcs just by doing that. Like in the middle of them. You can just be in the middle, constantly pressing L.
And you're just like teleporting around just.
Yeah. And it's funny because they're like, where did it go? And you just feel like really cool. So that's my favorite thing in the game, the Shadow Strike stuff. Must have been the wind. We're going to get into the story now, though. But before I do, I want to like put 2 things forward about the story. First, this is non-canon. Like they went and talked to like Lord of the Rings scholars, and they actually went to Weta Workshop, who made all the Lord of the Rings, the movie props and stuff, and worked with them. But this is not official Lord of the Rings story. With that said, I am going to spoil that story right now. Okay. I am full spoiler mode here. So if you don't want to know the story of Shadow of Mordor, you should fast forward through this part, or go play the game, or watch a YouTube video, or whatever. I don't know how you roll. Do that.
We've reached the statute of limitations on spoilers.
We really have. This game is 12 years old. So here we go. So the game takes place in the 60-year gap between the events of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. That's where we're at right now. You play as Talion, who is a Gondorian ranger who guards the Black Gate of Mordor. You're like stationed on the Black Gate, right? And at the beginning of the game, your whole family and you are murdered by a group of wraiths called the Black Hand, which is like a group of like Sauron's minions, right? And they do this to like perform a ritual to try to bring a wraith back. But what ends up happening is the wraith joins with you instead of joining with them. So it's like you become like possessed by this spirit of a wraith and you can't die. Now, the big spoiler reveal in the story is that wraith is Celebrimbor, who is the creator of the One Ring. The one who made the One Ring for Sauron is Celebrimbor, right? So,
wow.
But because of this bond, that's why you can't die. And that's also like story-wise, you can't die. So that's how the Nemesis system works, right? Is you can die and then just come back and they remember who you are. Because they call you like Wraithborn. They have like a bunch of different nicknames for you. Kind of like they call Master Chief different things too. Yeah, the demon.
Yeah.
They have that going on.
I do appreciate when a game like figures out a way in lore to make the dying and coming back all the time like make sense.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. I know there's like Prince of Persia did that. I think Sands of Time does that where when you die, he's like, wait a minute, that's not how it happened. And it like rewinds or something. One of them does that. I just think that's funny.
I think it's funny too. I love it so much. It makes me so happy. It's I like it when it like makes sense too, and it also made it so when I died, I never had the urge to reload. Like I
Yeah,
was like,
because
no,
you're like, it's
now
just the
something's gonna
game.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
now
different.
something's gonna happen. Something cool is gonna happen. It's gonna be really fun. So together, what happens is Talion and Celebrimbor then decide to destroy Sauron's army from within by essentially, you first start by like assassinating the captains, but then you're going to move on into actually taking control of the captains, like I was talking about, right? And then over time throughout the game, you also team up with Gollum, you know, the Gollum from Lord of the
Ooh,
Rings.
and his precious.
And his precious because he's like been corrupted by the ring, he can see Celebrimbor. Like he knows that you're Wraithborn because he like was corrupted, and he helps you find artifacts that tell you who Celebrimbor is, and then you learn the story that he was the guy who made the One Ring and all that jazz. So, while I will say the game takes like liberties with the story of Lord of the Rings, I think it like works. Like it works really well, and it does a really good job also of just being like, okay, and I hate spoilers. You kill the Black Hand, you avenge your family, and guess what? You're just gonna keep going. You're gonna go into Mordor, and you're gonna try to like kill him. Because what you learn is that in the story of the game is Celebrimbor took the ring from Sauron and became corrupted by it, and then fought Sauron in like an actual big epic battle. So
He
all
made
this
the
stuff going
ring
on.
for Sauron, then took it back. The ring corrupted its creator. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay.
Because it only belongs to Sauron. Okay. So yeah, but it's honestly, it kind of has everything you need because Lord of the Rings already is about like evil and corruption and like revenge, and that's all in this. So I feel like it fits really well. But I dug it. I mean, I've heard from our friends that the Shadow of War game. Did you hear
Is that Delilah? Is she the friend?
She's the friend. Delilah told me. That was such a good. Buddy, I'm recording right now. Can you? Okay. Well, she's going to yell it out, but that's okay. I'm not going to edit this out either because everyone needs to know that the producer's here. All right. And this is my first time getting meows into the new microphone. So this is a big day.
Oh, they're
Okay.
such high quality meows.
Such high quality meows. Perfect meows. Pull those. Put those on the soundboard. Everyone's
Yeah.
going to love it. But what was I saying? I was going to say, I've heard with Shadow of War, the next game, it really goes off the rails. Like as far as the story goes.
In a bad way?
Yeah, and not
Oh.
like if you care about Lord of the Rings way, you're not gonna want to like do that. Which is fine though, because like what can they do? It's a game that they're trying to put in the middle. So I'm still probably gonna play Shadow of War, but Shadow of Mordor at least has like a story that still fits, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's open ended in the ending. All right, let's talk about the development of this. Shadow of Mordor was developed by Monolith Productions, and we've talked about them before when we covered Fear, First Encounter Assault Recon.
That's true.
And they also did the games No One Lives Forever, which are games I've never played. That
Yeah.
are like spy movie parody kind of games.
We really should play those probably. I wonder if there's a good like co-op mod for them or something.
I would love that. That'd be really fun.
This is also not the same company as Monolith Soft, which is owned by Nintendo and makes like the Xenoblade Chronicles and games like that.
So
I think
many
they're owned by
monoliths.
Nintendo. No, they're owned by Namco Bandai. Oh no, they are owned by Nintendo. Yeah.
Oh, well, good for them.
Monolith
Okay.
Soft. So not the same. Not the same.
Not the same. Not the same. All right. But there's an article I found on the very aptly named GameDeveloper.com called Postmortem, Monolith Productions, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, and it came out in January 19th of 2015. So it was like kind of fresh when the game just come out. And they discussed the development. I think it's a good place to see some like highlights that led to the game's success. So I'm just going to quickly Cliff's Notes their points and talk about them for a little bit. And that's how we'll do the developer section here. All right. So first, the good things, the positive things that went well for them, the Nemesis system. And there's a quote from the article that says, quote, "There were two main goals which drove our focus in the Nemesis system. The first was a commitment to creating systems which empowered players to create and share their own stories. The second was for us to leverage the new generation hardware through our innovation," end quote. And I think they nailed it. Like every time someone says like new gameplay thing, I think you think of it being like some sort of like graphics change or like, you know, like something new with that. But this is truly like a gameplay mechanic where like the enemies remember you is something that you're like, why has no one thought of that yet?
Yeah, and
Right?
still aren't really doing well. I guess maybe there's a reason for
They're
that.
not allowed to. Yeah, they're not allowed to legally, which is crazy. But So yeah, that's the first part. The controls and gameplay, I thought this was interesting. Quote, our goal was to match the best-in-class core gameplay quality of the genre we were entering, which we clearly identified as the Arkham series by Rocksteady. Arkham is also published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, and we wanted to bring players to perceive that we were trying to emulate their approach to a licensed IP by focusing on quality, independent of the blockbuster movies, which are coming out in parallel. I love this. So
That's
they're
cool.
like, we're treating it, it's a movie game, but it's not a movie game. Like,
Yeah,
we're
because
really taking
this was
our
around the
time.
time that like the Hobbit movies were coming out, right? But this is
Yeah.
not the Hobbit. These are not the licensed, the Hobbit, the movie, the game, right?
Exactly.
The book, the movie, the game.
Yeah, I'm going to brush on this third one really quick. Usability and QA. This is kind of inside baseball, but they talked about having like really good QA teams. And also they did lots of play tests with people of different skill levels of gaming.
That's
which
really
I think is
important.
Yeah, because you don't want to just like expect people to know what to do. Like, it was easier for me because I'd played Batman before, right? But someone that doesn't play Batman has got to learn how to do it. Another one here. Quote, another big win for Shadow of Mordor was that the entire studio and team were focused on a single game, where previously Monolith Productions had been developing multiple titles in parallel. I think that's huge. Like, everyone's on board. No one's like breaking away from this. And then the last part of this is the publisher support. And I'm just going to paraphrase this one here, but essentially Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment and like the people that made Lord of the Rings were on board and helped them. Like I said before, Weta Workshop like gave them access to all the props and stuff. And they also had a really strong marketing push from Warner Brothers at like E3 and places like that, which only helped the game out. The other thing, like the problems and the challenges from the article are kind of interesting because they go, the Nemesis system was a positive, but also it was a negative in this way. Like, it's very much a businessy kind of article. But they talked about churn with the Nemesis system and how it was supposed to be like really simple, and then things became overly complex, which you hear about a lot, I think.
Scope creep is real.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what happened with the Nemesis system, and they had to like pull it back in, is what they're talking about there. Also, the fact that this is the first time Monolith made a third-person action game was hard.
Oh, yeah, because I guess no one in the server. Yeah, those other two games are first-person shooters, huh?
Really first-person before. So that's kind of interesting to think about. Like, oh, this is their first foray into third-person action. So there are some other points in the article that were made, but like I said, they were a little more businessy than I think what we wanted to talk about. And like, if you want to look at the article, you can just Google what I said for it. The article is again called Postmortem Monolith Productions Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor. That's what it's called. So just Google that. It'll pop right up. But for now, I think the takeaway of development is that Monolith was all working together on this. This was like their baby, right? There was no other side projects going on. This was their game. And I think that really helped them out. So let's talk about the legacy now, specifically the Nemesis system. So after the sequel to Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, Warner Brothers essentially put this series on the shelf, which is kind of weird.
Because they both sold well, right? Shadow of War did well too, right?
They both sold well. I think this had to do more with like their business decision, but they hadn't actually used the Nemesis system. And it turns out the Nemesis system is patented until 2036. That's according to an article in Eurogamer. And the Eurogamer article is really good too. I'll just tell you it's called. Shadow of Mordor's brilliant Nemesis system is locked away by a Warner Brothers patent until 2036, despite studio shutdown. Because that's the other part of this. They get shut down. Monolith gets shut down. They were going to make a Wonder Woman game that used the Nemesis system. And everyone was really stoked about this. And then they were shut down on February 24th, 2025. That's right. Only a little over a year ago is when Monolith was shut down.
Dang.
And the Wonder Woman game was canceled. That was supposed to use the Nemesis system. Here's the more recent news, though. Warner Brothers is up for sale. This has been some kind of like big business drama the news has been talking about. Have you heard about this, Tyler?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Netflix was going to buy Warner Brothers, the whole thing, right? Including the video game part of it that's now been defunct. But that fell apart. And as of February 26th of this year, Paramount is looking like they're going to buy them.
Netflix got to walk away from that with like $2.5 billion too, because they were going to buy it, and they had put in the agreement like, hey, but if you guys walk away from this for like reasons that are not our fault, you owe us $2.5 billion or some crazy number like that. And so that's what happened. Paramount was like, okay, I guess we're going to have to give you $2.5 billion.
Hey, Netflix probably needs it. So, so here's the funny part about Paramount, though. I just did some side research, because I was like, wait, does Paramount even make games, and would they even use the Nemesis system? I'm going to say this. Paramount had Paramount Digital Entertainment Incorporated, and they did make some games, but they are fairly non-remembered games in that in the early 2010s, they made games based on Star Trek, Grease, The Adventures of Tintin, and then a mobile game about World War Z. And that's just naming some of them. They also, I think, remember that Rango movie about a lizard?
Oh, yeah. It was like Johnny Depp or something.
Yeah, that had a game that they made too. But the point of this is that entire studio went defunct in 2022. So things are not looking good for the Nemesis system, in my opinion, because they're being purchased by a company that gave up on video games 4 years ago. So
yeah, I highly doubt Paramount is like, we want your video games, WB. They more want literally everything else.
Yeah, they want the library of stuff to put on their streaming service.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yep.
So it's not looking good, gang, is what I could say. I mean, and like, what's really funny, Tyler, is I wrote this at the bottom of the script, but you said it before me that I think the Nemesis system could be used in a reimagining of the Batman Arkham games, where the villains are all like your villains and you control them and stuff and you take them out. And you brought that up. And I think that's what would have happened in Wonder Woman. Like, I'm pretty sure.
I can also imagine like a crazy thing where like you beat up some bad guy in Batman, and like it was like some other person's parents, and then Batman is the person that did the thing to the guy that made him the bad guy.
Oh man.
I mean, I'm sure that story has been explored in depth in Batman comics before, where it's like,
Batman's
are you any
so
better
meta.
than,
Yeah, Batman's gotten so meta at this point.
Yeah.
But Batception, if you will. So I don't know. Things are not looking good as far as another like Middle Earth Shadow of Blank game goes. I'm going to play Shadow of War. I don't know when I'm going to play it. I kind of have a hankering to do another game I want to talk about on the podcast. So I'm going to like maybe switch over. But Shadow of Mordor definitely ends open-ended and like primes the way to the sequel. So I don't know how Shadow of War ends. Maybe it has a more definitive ending. We'll talk about that when we get there. But that's Shadow of Mordor and the Nemesis system that is like world famous and well known. So the big thing about the Nemesis system to take away from it is it made the same campaign unique for each player.
That's cool.
Which I think is really cool. And even in the end, in the final battle, a guy is on the other team. Like the first battle, the first part of the final like end of the game, you fight a person that killed you. Like it's like a person that killed you as like a remembering thing to like kind of bring it back. Like one of the orcs that killed you. And I thought that was like a really fun, sweet touch, at least in my game. He's like, I remember killing you. I'm going to do it again. And I was like, I love this. Also, I should mention they can't say swears in the game.
All they can say is shoot.
They say dung a lot. So you're a dung head, which I think is really funny. I don't give a dung.
I love when like games will do that kind of thing, like replace the swear words. Star Wars Outlaws has one. I can't remember what it is, but she like exclaims it as if it's like a really strong curse word, but it means nothing. But I can't remember exactly what it is.
I love that. I also remember I never watched
Dank Ferric. That's what it is. She's like, Dank Ferric. You're like, that does sound like a swear word.
But it's not.
But it's not.
That's good. I think Battlestar Galactica, didn't they bring frack into the
I think so, yeah.
vernacular? Like a lot of people said that for a long time, which was very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Shadow of Mordor. I really enjoyed it though. I'm really happy I finally played it. And if you get a chance, play it. Honestly, also, I mean, if you are the kind of person that likes to play games on old consoles, I bet you a copy of this is not very expensive.
Yeah, I could probably. Yeah, and I could probably find it. Let's see. Was Amazon save? I want to buy Shadow of Mordor.
The one thing I brought it up, I was talking to a friend about it, and they were like,
$23.
Is it on Switch? And I'm like, no, it's not on Switch, unfortunately.
Ooh, that would have made a good.
But it would be a good Switch game. honestly. Maybe a collection of the two. That would be a good Switch game for sure.
Shadow of Mordor 360, $1.97.
There you go.
Buy it now. New low price. Does that come with the case?
But also on Steam, it goes on sale for like $2 if you want like a digital version of it. But yeah, it's very, very cheap. But with that, Tyler, what you been playing?
Well, I finally finished the Delta episode in Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. So I caught Rayquaza, I caught Deoxys, and stopped the meteor. Spoilers. Stopped the meteor from crashing into Hoenn and destroying everything.
Wow, spoilers, bro.
Yeah, rode Rayquaza straight through that meteor, and then Deoxys popped out, and I had to catch God Pokemon. No, Deoxys isn't God Pokemon. It's like alien Pokemon. Arceus is God Pokemon.
Deoxys is the one when I Wonder Traded in Ultra Moon that I would always get like a hacked Pokemon. It was always Deoxys. You'd be like Wonder Trading your like level 3 Pidgey, and then it's like, here's a level 99 Deoxys. And you're like, this is a hack.
Cool, man.
But I'm like, you know what? It's mine now. I'll use it.
And plausible deniability. You didn't hack it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I finished that, and then I've been I think I'm going to commit to a playthrough of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, which is the Diamond remake that came out on Switch a few years ago. I've heard it's not great, but I am playing it on an emulator where I can run it at 60 frames per second, which is pretty nice. I did try to get the Luminescent Platinum, like there's like a fan mod of that like cleans up a bunch of stuff and makes it so you can catch all the Pokemon in one game and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to play that version of it, but I could not get it working. So the save files aren't compatible. So I just committed to a Brilliant Diamond playthrough, I think. But that's about it.
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Is that the other one?
Yeah.
Pearl, the original Pearl, Pokemon Pearl, is one of the ones that got away from me. Like when I sold my DS and I got rid of a bunch of games, that was one of them, and I never beat it, and I was still ashamed.
Yeah, probably.
But I needed that $80 at the time, so I was.
Hey, yep. You can go back. You can. I wonder how much a copy of Pokemon Pearl is. Pokemon games hold their value so well.
They do.
Pokemon Pearl DS. Let's see. $25, $35 for just a cartridge. Yeah, okay, that's actually not too bad. Yeah, just a loose.
I mean, it's just really the red. Like my version of Pokemon Red, I think, is pretty expensive for Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
But I'll never sell it. It's mine.
Yeah, you never should.
My precious.
Yeah.
To bring it back.
All right. Well, and with that, what have you been playing, Mike?
Ooh, I beat Shadow of Mordor, obviously. And then I didn't really get a chance to get too far into it, but I booted up my wife and I's Animal Crossing island. Because it had been a long time. And so I might just be like just a lot of weeds to pull, a lot of cockroaches. But I just kind of want to check it out and see what it's like. They added a bunch of stuff to the game. And then I've been playing some more of Stardew Valley. I mean, I've been playing that too. I can't stop. I have a problem. I'm addicted. I did the Joja run. I beat that. So I got that achievement. And then I stopped playing my Joja run immediately. I might delete the save file. I'm so ashamed.
You just feel so too icky.
I feel so icky. And so now what I'm doing is just sleeping over and over again to make it so I have 2 children to get that achievement. And then I need to play.
Is that how that works? You just sleep a bunch and then
you just sleep a bunch until Penny says, "Do you want to have another kid?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." And then I'll
just like, "You're sleep. Boring. All you do is sleep. I need another kid."
Shh. And I'll be like, "You're welcome for the $2 million we have in our farming account right now." Okay. But then after that, I have to beat Journey of the Prairie King. And then I have to beat, which is a game that's inside the game. Did you know that your game's inside the game?
The game in a game, Gameception?
There's Gameception. There's 2 games in Stardew. There's Junimo Kart, which is like the level in Donkey Kong where you're on a mining cart and you have to jump it. It's just that. And then there's Journey of the Prairie King, which is like a top-down stick shooter, like bullet hell kind of shooter. And that's really hard. But if you beat all those, then I have all the achievements in Stardew Valley.
All right.
And then I get a handwritten letter from Eric Barone, the maker of Stardew Valley.
Concerned Ape himself.
Concerned Ape writes me a handwritten letter, I've heard.
He says, "I'm concerned you have played too much Stardew Valley."
He's like, "Hi, this is Concerned Ape. Go outside." That's what he says. But yeah, I don't know if I'll get that far. I'm just like, I'm still enjoying it. That's the weird thing is I'm not over it yet. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
Might as well keep it going.
I keep hearing stuff about Pokemon Pokopia, and I feel like I maybe need to check that out.
I'm so tempted to buy a Switch 2.
Yeah.
I'm so tempted. But yeah, so it's gonna be it's I don't know what I'm gonna play next. I have a couple irons in the fire as far as like looking through my backlog, and I'm like, there's some I want to play, including one that you and I talked about, but I don't want to spoil it on the podcast.
Okay.
So we will hold off. But with that, if you want to support us, you can tell your friends about us. You can leave a positive rating on anywhere you listen to us. That helps us out a lot too. You could also go to codexpodcast.net. That has our Discord invite on there. And then to join a Discord, you have to join it, and then you have to say yes to the rules, and then you can see everything. Some people don't do that. And
don't be
like,
mean.
Why is your Discord broken? And I'm like, no, it's not broken. I just made it so you have to click a button because that stops the robots from joining.
I feel
Not
like
like
that's
we're anti-robot on the podcast. We don't want to be.
No, I don't know.
In today's America, who knows?
I don't want
to take over soon.
Yeah, be nice to the robots because you might be first.
Love you, Microsoft Copilot. They'll say, I pick a random one. Okay. But yeah, and then if you want to send us an email, you can do that at codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com, or you can use the contact form on our website. That works too. But yeah, that's it. Tyler, do you love Lord of the Rings now? Did I convince you?
A little bit more. Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Sure, I'll say goodbye to everybody. Goodbye, everybody.